Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Silent Podcast, a place that where everything but silent. I am your host, Isaiah, and a very late night and very tired, but we are here to talk about Temptation Island, episode 6. I am here with my co-host, Sasha.
Hi.
And Geneva.
Hello.
Abby, obviously time zones could not be here, but we will see her next week like usual. But yeah, we are here to talk about Temptation Island episode 6. This one a little bit on the slower side, not a lot of drama or excitement or cheating like we're used to, but I mean, it's okay.
Kendall was still making out.
Apparently for Isaiah, if there's cheating, that's the excitement. That's the drama. That's what we want to see. No, I mean probably, but
and kissing isn't enough, obvious.
It's not obvious. Look. If you're dumb enough to bring your significant other here, just at least entertain me. Like, I don't like Kendall, but he entertains me because he's like Corey is so boring. I'm sorry, Corey is a nice guy, but he is so boring to watch on television. For me.
He had the best line, I feel, in the show, like the whole show. But to me, that was his only good line ever.
He's only there because of Aaron, and then once Aaron got there, she's regretted it. So
like we haven't really seen Corey outside of the bonfire ceremonies for like 2, maybe 3 episodes now. He's just kind of like fodder.
Yeah, he dragged Kendall in the car. That's the only thing I liked about him. Everything else was useless. Like, I agree.
Real quick before we jump in, how did you guys feel about the episode tonight or yesterday? Sorry.
It's fine. It was just like you, I think, Isaiah. Same thing where I just felt like it was pretty slow, where I was like, okay, I was almost waiting for the shoe to drop, like, it's going to be fun now. It's going to be fun now. And then I looked up and I see that it's still like 20 minutes left of the episode. And I was like, oh, got it. I still need to take some notes. Okay. Also, maybe before we go forward, I know there was a lot of the title of the episode is an unexpected loss. And also I wanted to we wanted to share the national help. It's the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services hotline, and their number is 1-800-622-HELP. So if you know anyone or you yourself are dealing with something of substance abuse, please call this hotline and get the help you need, because we might be bringing up some stuff like that during the podcast. All right.
All right. And I will actually, because like after we finish all this, I'll actually put down the description for the video. So definitely call that if you are struggling with anything in the same relation. Geneva, real quick, how did you feel about it as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there wasn't a lot of like drama per se, but I think in this episode, we did get a lot of vulnerability. We did get a lot of more substance from individual people on the show, like in the main cast. And so I think we get to know a bit more about their personal lives and how it's really affected their process. So I think in terms of character development, I think this was a good episode in regards to that. I think in terms of story building and more context for why people have, I guess maybe expressed their feelings or have held back. So I think it was a good episode in that regard, but I think in terms of the entertainment factor, probably not as entertaining.
Yes.
But okay, so we can just jump into this episode. I feel like this recap might be a little bit on the quicker side, just because, like we said, it was a lot more I mean, they're not characters, obviously. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but we got to know these people a lot more than the other ones. Interesting that it took 6 episodes into the season to finally get to that backstory in a lot of these people, but hey, better late than never. So we start this episode and it picks up off of the last one, and it's basically Kristen was coming out about her brother's death and basically how it affected her, but when Julian they were going through their little situation with the cheating and everything, he was there for her, and they feel like they bonded because of that, and they got back together because of that, and they gave the relationship a second chance. And she feels relieved that she can finally get this stuff out, and she basically has been holding this so in for so long, and that's why she's been the way she is. Sasha, how did you feel about Kristen coming out about this?
Yeah, I just believe, one, I'm glad if this was the way that, she kind of gets some closure, kind of gets to talk about it, more power to her. I think Mark was like pushing a lot, which is also got really weird to me at the end bonfire, like the end of the episode. But I appreciate her being vulnerable and open. And I don't know if this is like calling it too early, but I feel that she's over Julian. And I think because they have this shared trauma and they did like trauma bonding, that's kind of the only reason I feel that they're together. And I hope she just kind of lets him go. And they both like lead a happier, more fulfilled life. Just because you've been together 11 years, you don't owe each other like anything, especially if it's like hurting each other more to be together.
I agree. I think that they could actually be friends, if anything. Geneva, do you feel the same way?
I think definitely that's an interesting perspective and way of looking at it. I don't know if I necessarily like saw it that way, but I do think that I think it was very interesting too of the timing of this, because it was weird how, I mean, we'll talk about this more later, but Julian, this came out in his conversations too, and they're obviously not in communication at this point of the season. So I just thought it was surprising that they both opened up about this situation. And I guess the amount of time that it took them to get here. But I wonder though if like, because she brought up this whole context of now people understanding of why she's been, I guess her actions have been the way they have been. And, I think a lot of it has to do with, in her situation, she has been, I think, worried about Julian. I wonder if this is more now going to be more of a reflection on herself and like how she'll be able to look past the situation and move forward with Julian within the relationship. I could see honestly the end of the season going either way. I could see Julian and Kristen having a more stronger foundation coming out of this, but I could also see them parting ways, but always having each other as friends and support because they have been in each other's lives for so long. But I do also, because I think one thing is that in a lot of these situations, I think one person is probably taking the blame. But obviously, if there's difficulty where Kristen can't move forward, there has to be something that's going on with her personally. And I think we start to see that in this episode.
Yeah.
For why she can't move forward.
Okay. So basically that's kind of like the closeout of the girls ceremony, and it's just going to transition to the males bonfire ceremony, and Mark does his little spiel with everyone, and basically Thomas is saying that he feels like he has a crush on Sophia, but he won't cross that line yet because he doesn't want Chelsea crossing it, and I think this is actually something that we've been speaking about the last couple of episodes, that I feel like both Thomas and Chelsea, I said Chelsea earlier. Oh my gosh, Chelsea. So Chelsea and Thomas, I feel like they both really are just kind of like ready to move on. But for public perception wise, they're just waiting for the other person to cross the line first so they can be like, I told you so. And low-key, we saw something like that in this episode. We'll get to it, but they're still waiting for the other one to make the first move so they can have that self-validation to move on to someone else. So Thomas is going to see Chelsea's clip. It's basically her talking to someone, saying that she has a crush on someone, that Aaron is just like, she's telling Aaron that she has a crush on someone, and Aaron's telling her to go for it. And then Blake is basically in another clip saying that he could be more intimate with Chelsea and they can spend more time together and all this stuff. Do I think Blake is the one? No. I think a few episodes ago kind of showed that he's a little on the weird side, but for some reason I think Chelsea is like very, I'm not going to say thirsty, but she's very desperate to find something. And I guess her time on the island, this is like showing that she's not used to being like separated from Thomas. So now that she has this, she's like, all right, maybe, you know, like I need someone with me at all times, or I like she doesn't know how to take time to be single, and I think that she's just grasping at whatever will give her attention currently, which is unfortunate. But Geneva, how did you feel about you know, Thomas and him seeing Chelsea's clips and everything?
Well, I think it's very interesting because I feel like Thomas seeing this really uses this as kind of justification for what he's been feeling, experiencing, and worrying about. And he's like, well, I guess it's okay to feel the way that I'm feeling. And I guess he has been, surprised that he's found somebody like Sophia to connect with. But it's made this experience more challenging and exciting for him. And he feels like he's growing and putting himself through the process. Now, like, obviously, we know that the issue behind Thomas is that he is pretty flirtatious and kind of touchy-feely, which, is what Chelsea's concern is. But I still see that he really is trying to respect the boundaries. But I just feel like regardless of what he's going to do or whatever he does, Chelsea's never going to like it and never going to accept it. So it's like at this point, it's like, even though she's like, I can't change him for who he is, I feel like he's still, whatever he's doing is considered wrong in her eyes. And for some reason that bothers me. I don't know why. Like, I think it's justifiable for her to not be happy with his behavior, but like, I feel like a lot of that, what we've seen, I mean, I guess obviously like the clip, later is weird. But like, he, isn't really trying to, like, for instance, like, I feel like a lot of stuff has been initiated by Sophia because he's like, I'm not doing that. Like, I want to respect Chelsea. So I just, like, I'm not saying Thomas is perfect, but I also want to give Thomas a little bit of like credit because, like, considering what we know and what Chelsea has said about him, I think he is holding a lot of restraint.
Yeah, the only piece I thought was weird of this, maybe I misheard, was that he was like, I have feelings for Sophia, but I'm doing better, and I am growing because of it. And I was like, shut up, Thomas. Like, what does he say? Like, this is why you're 30, whatever, 37 and single, because you say dumb shit like this. And that's the only, I agree. Yeah, like, everything else I'm on board with for him in this moment, at least. But just that piece, I was like, and that's probably why Chelsea is so insecure, because he's a little bit gaslighty. And I can see how she can kind of get spun around, and her personality type is like Isaiah already said, like insecure and a little messy. So they're a mess together.
For the oldest, couple coming in, they're very immature. Both of them are really bad.
Yes.
So we move on to Julian, and Julian is basically saying that Erica, he's seeing Erica's clips, and Erica's basically saying that she's scared. That even if I said Erica. Kristen. She's seeing Kristen's clips. But he's seeing Kristen saying that she's scared that even if you pass the test, that she might not be 100% into it. And she basically just doesn't trust Julian still, based off of everything that's happened in the past. And basically the single person is asking, what makes you still hang around him? And she says, I have no idea. Obviously, I think these last two episodes has really been showing that Julian's kind of getting eaten up inside, and there's a lot of guilt still there. Not only because of the cheating, but as he opens up later in the episode, because of the alleged promise that he made to her brother that he would take care of her and everything. So even if like Sasha was saying earlier, it doesn't seem like they really want to be together, and that like they're bounded by this trauma. It's like he feels like he owes it to her brother to be looking out for her. So it's kind of this being exposed, even though it's good, it's kind of almost making me feel almost uncomfortable for the two of them. It's like they don't really want to be together. Like he keeps saying that he wants to marry her and stuff. Now it's making me think, like, do you really want to marry her, or are you just like, do you feel bad? It's he's still a good guy nonetheless, but still, it's just like, it's a little awkward. How do you feel about it, Sasha?
Agreed. I mean, we all know I love Julian, but I still, yeah, to me, it's just Mark, I think, asked him, right, like, Dig, what, why'd you cheat? Why'd you cheat? But like, I think they've been together 11 years, and again, we still don't know when he cheated, but it looks like, it was more recent than maybe we'd like, maybe more recent than comfortable. And I think that he needs to kind of go on his path. And some people thrive. They're together 11 years and they really grow together. To me, that's not this couple. And that's, I think, where it kind of lands for me.
How about you, Geneva?
Yeah, I think that kind of what we've been stressing before, you can continue to make that promise and provide support to Kristen, but that doesn't mean you have to do it romantically and be with her, for the rest of your life. And I don't know if part of it too is comfortability, because 11 years is a really long time. And since they've known each other practically since high school, like, I think that because, and Kristen's even mentioned it, like, their families are close, like, they know each other that well. So even if they were to part ways, I think maybe they feel like there's a lot to lose from it. And maybe that's where that hesitancy comes from. But yeah, and that was what was, I think, really weird about when Mark was kind of grilling him, is like, Julian didn't really specify like really what it was. He just said that there was something that was missing at the time, but he doesn't feel like he's missing it now. And basically Kristen gave him everything, but he put that to the side. So I guess it would just be interesting to know, like, what was that, situation. I mean, I guess I don't need to necessarily know all the details, but that's where it's just like, I feel like we're missing something, but even so, like, with what we know, it's like the foundation of why they're still together is confusing. I believe one of the cheating incidences was 5 years ago, from what I recall. I don't remember what the other one was. But that's where I think it's just difficult, because it's like you have I believe there were 2 cheating incidences, and then you also have staying together in result of trauma. So but then it's just a difficulty because they've known each other for so long. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, and if they realize that, are we really together for that reason? Or if there's more to that. But yeah, I think it was an interesting conversation between Julian and Mark.
All right. So next we move on to Corey. We're not going to spend too much time here. I mean, Corey, he saw the clip of Shaq and Aaron, and they're, like we said, every time we see an Aaron clip, it's usually with Shaq, and it's very like friendly. And it seems like I said with Abby and Dana last week, it seems like it's like set up by production. They Aaron is like Team Corey. It's so obvious. It's like Corey's just like, oh, okay. I mean, it doesn't seem bad. Like, I'm cool. Like, so, that's going on there. Corey, honestly, like I said earlier, is kind of boring to watch, but I mean, he just has his stuff together now. I think that he realized he came to the island because Aaron wanted him, but I think he's enjoying his time on the guys' villa first, because he's not cheating. He likes everyone there. He's partying. The guys, it's
having a good vacation.
Yeah, it's a vacation for him. Like, he's like, I got my stuff together. I'm good. This is for Aaron. So, I mean, Corey's having a good time. Like I said, there's not much to even go on with Corey. But Kendall, we go to Kendall, and Kendall. So Kendall basically, this is the first time that one of the couples is actually seeing the aftermath or the repercussions of like them seeing a clip from someone else.
Yes.
I think actually the only time that something close happened was maybe when Chelsea saw Thomas talking about something. She thought it was because she was dancing or something. But
Kristen saw Julian crying, right?
Crying.
So technically, but
true,
not.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but this was the one with words, I think, where it specifically says.
So like he knows like his direct. Oh my gosh.
He knows that she
No,
knows.
But
Thank
it's
you.
also a little debatable because he's like, well, I don't know what she saw. Like later
Well,
on, and
he's
I'm
a
like,
he
denier.
knows.
He's
and I'm like, you
knows.
should know what
denier.
she saw. What do you think they're showing? Like,
Even the
what have you
singles
been
who
doing
weren't even
there?
at the bonfire ceremony knows what they were talking. He's just being ignorant. He knows exactly what they're talking about. He cheated. She saw it twice. Like she's not like the people who weren't even there or involved in any. Even the background characters knew what was going on. Like he's not dumb. Like
He
come
had
on
a
now.
threesome. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like my God.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't think they didn't show that. That's a joke.
Yeah,
But-
that's content. Has that ever happened before at any like I guess at least this
think.
quick?
I don't. I've only seen last season, but no.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm trying to think.
I don't think so. I mean, Genevieve, you've seen more seasons than me.
I feel like I've seen another instance of it, but maybe I don't know. I would have to go back, but I feel like I might have seen an instance of it or something, a potential of it, but it didn't actually really happen.
Well, the worst thing though is that he was just like trying to blame this on like some like Invisible Rules or whatever, and it's just like, bruh, like Invisible Rules. I think one of the singles spoke about this earlier. Like, yeah, you guys didn't have rules, but that doesn't mean like you can go like go have
Wild
sex
out.
with other people.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. And
Yeah.
he's a bad friend. Y'all are so lucky Abby is here because she was freaking out last week.
No,
but-
he is. He's oh my God. He's literally he's the fact that he was like, I'm single, but she has
Yeah.
invisible rules. No, you stupid idiot. Like, why did you drag this woman?
Yeah.
Break up with her, find someone else that has clout, and lie about your relationship
Yeah.
and get on the show. He probably still would have got on the show because he would have been wild and doing all this stuff that he's doing. Oh, I hate Kendall. Like, I
Just break up
literally
with her
hate
and
him.
go on, like Are You the One or something.
Yes.
Or
Or
Love
Love
Island.
Island.
Like
By the way, if anyone has any weird aspirations to go on Temptation Island, I'm aware they are casting right now for future seasons. I was on USA's website and I saw that they are looking for singles and couples. So if you're interested,
if
go
your
seek that
relationship
out.
is failing, if you want to break up with someone, go get some money real quick. Go have a good time out there. Help us.
But yeah, he was just like, it's difficult to watch, but we set the no rules guidelines, but I feel like there's some hidden rules and she didn't want to reveal them to me. And, she probably saw something that she was disturbed about. It's like, yeah, you having sex with another woman or two women is something to be disturbed about. Rules or no rules. Like, I just don't understand why he wouldn't think that would be something that would make somebody upset. Like, I don't get it. But he's just like, oh, I'm single, I don't know. I'm like, regardless if you're single or not, you're still technically in a relationship.
No, he's such a narcissist. He can do anything to make it work for himself. And he keeps saying Erica can do whatever she wants. And I know that when he's getting his hair braided, that you could tell this is the type of dude that will be like, how dare you cheat on me? I'll never trust you again. Like when he can be philandering all over town, and come back. But, if you even look at someone, he'll never forgive her. Like he definitely is that type of person. Loser.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
He is
then
a
Mark
bad
also
person.
asked him straight up and was like, well, how would you feel? And he's like, well, I would feel hurt and betrayed, but I'm not the type of person that would make excuses for anything, but anything done in the dark will always come to light. I was like,
That's you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You.
I think he's
Anything
trying
you're
to own it. I think he knows like that he messed up, but he's just trying to own it so he doesn't look like stupid. And he's like, I knew what I was doing. That doesn't mean I'm not a bad person, but it is what it is. Like I think he knows that there's going to be repercussions.
Yes.
But I mean, to be fair, spoilers. I mean, we don't know if this is confirmed or not. But if him and Erica are still together outside the house, but you know what?
Allegedly.
If they are still together, then I mean, that's gonna look so bad because that means he knew what he was talking about the whole time. Oh,
yeah, because he said she would take him back.
Oh, I hope she has some sense. That's all I gotta say. I hope she has some sense. I don't even want to keep talking about that because let me save that for the reunion.
Yes.
I don't want this to affect my opinion on Erica now because I don't have any facts. But
Yes,
ooh,
yes.
it's gonna look so bad. So we're leaving the bonfire ceremonies. You know, they're leaving with those conversations, and you guys said Corey was grilling Kendall a little bit, right?
Yeah, that was after the second bonfire
Okay.
ceremony.
But after
Alright,
this
ignore me.
one in the car,
Yeah,
he
Julian
said-
did say, if you truly love Erica, don't let it slip because I have, bro. It's one of the most hopeless feelings you'll ever feel in your life. And Kendall's like, I feel like it's already shifted a little bit. So that did happen in the car
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
right
Yeah,
before they went back to both villas. And then that's where we find, like, you know, the guys go back to the villa. The girls want to know what happened.
Mhm.
And he's just
Oh.
brandishing her pain. Oh, she was crying. And it's so sad. And everyone's like, yeah, of course she was, you idiot.
You know what she saw. Hello.
Yeah, and he's so ratchet. Like, he literally gives 0 Fs about anything. Like,
The
I just-
production loves this though.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
that's
you
what I'm saying.
love this.
We hate him because he's the only one giving us content. So, like,
Yeah.
what's everyone else doing? Staring at each other?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
So-
we can move on.
So basically what happened, Alexis we see is starting to catch feelings for Kendall. I don't think Kendall is catching feelings for Alexis. That's just a hookup. And it's funny because this is almost grooming because, you know, they're over here talking about like futures and families and children and stuff. Dude's over here later on like, I think I'm catching feelings for Nicole. Like, ooh, like, so this how you roll? Like, this guy's a savage. Not a good one, but like this is wild. Like, you know, this is some, I feel like this is like some 3D chess, like Big Brother manipulation strategy here. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy's like actually like a bad person, but yeah, he's
Do you
manipulating.
think he leaves with Nicole? Can
Plot
you
twist.
imagine?
I
That'd
think
be
he's
so
gonna hook
funny.
up with Nicole. Look, I think he's gonna hook up with Nicole without Alexis.
Yes,
And then he's
100%.
gonna leave single, and I think he's okay with that.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
straight up,
because
he's
he'll
gonna
get
be
Erica.
like-
Yeah.
No, not even. I don't think he's gonna leave with Erica. I think Erica.
No,
he's
sorry.
gonna
I
be
think
like,
he'll get her back. Like, he
Yeah,
seems to be
after
that
the
type
show.
of person. Yeah, after the
Yeah,
show.
I feel
sorry.
like I feel like what's gonna happen between this, they're not leaving together. But based on potential spoilers we have seen out there, somehow they end up potentially back together.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they'll do this whole BS. Oh, we've grown together, we've grown
Like,
separate.
my
Shut up,
self-worth.
shut up. How about you grow away from each other? Okay, how about that?
Speaking
Uh,
of growing, Erica
Yeah.
did mention when she got back that it was a tough night. And if she doesn't open herself up now in the process and welcome these people into her life, then, you know, she'll leave here and she'll regret that she didn't take advantage of the opportunity. And she's telling a couple of the guys, you know, how she saw Kendall having a threesome. And Jesse basically says, obviously, in his opinion, this relationship should be long over, but he plans to continue to support Erica in the best way. And he's been supporting her and wants to make this the best experience he can for her. And he even tells her, like, if you want to get away, you know, we can go upstairs, like, talk it out. And he, like, lightly touches her back. And so that happens. I guess, yeah. So I guess generally, like, what do you guys think of this? I don't know, friendship, relationship, whatever that's happening between Erica and Jesse as of now.
I think that it's been kind of foreshadowed and been building up for like a couple episodes now, and I'm kind of glad to see that Jesse's finally getting a chance. Out of the guys, he seems like one of the genuine ones, who's actually there to help people. Obviously, since he's not messy, he's not going to get a lot of camera time. But when we do see him, it's having genuine heart to heart. So, you know, I don't think they're going to have a future or anything, but for like the time being, like, you know, have a fun time, like do what you got to do, you know, like, because right now she needs somebody to bond with, to take her mind off things. And I think Jesse can be that guy for her.
Yeah, he's not Mr. Right, but he's Mr. Right now. And
Ooh,
we
I like
love
that.
it. Yes.
And Chelsea's losing it.
Oh,
And
my
she
God.
really wants to talk to Blake because he calms her down no matter what. And,
I'm
she
sorry.
felt like she knew coming into this, like this whole situation was going to happen. And supposedly she's like, I think that Tom thought I was going to sit in the corner and not talk to anybody. And he's saying that I'm having fun. And now he's realizing that I'm going to do whatever I want. Was that his plan? So he could come here and live his bachelor life. Like he wants to live this whole life like this. And I don't know, like, I don't want to cheat myself from this experience. And like, I'm now, worried about what he's doing. And then Blake is like, do you want a hug? And so then they hug. And he knew that in the moment, he needed to be there for her. And he hopes that Chelsea is seeing that he's the better guy than the Toms out there. Yeah. So any thoughts on this, Chelsea? Her reflection and thoughts, and on Blake comforting her.
I feel like that Blake snitch story closed off a little too fast, and I feel like is going to be brought something. He's going to do something problematic again, because you don't get a storyline like that where like I'm here for the guys. Telling other people that like other people are talking trash stuff. You don't have that. And then right when the lackeys go away, you're just sudden like Mr. Right. Like that's not how it works. So I feel like he's going to mess up again eventually. I don't know when he's going to do it, but Dr. Blake is not the way to go. But Chelsea is immature and she's desperate for attention, and he will give it to her.
And he's like that one to be like, I'm gonna zero in on you. That's why I think he comes off so creepy, at least for me, is like he's technically saying all the right things, but I think he's just so creepy with how he's like really seeing her as like prey almost, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what was going on over there. I think the villa returns are always like the most my favorite parts of the episodes, because they're actually giving us the most information and all that. But we kind of just jump into the dates now.
There was like no segue, no anything. I was like, what is this transition or lack thereof? I was a little
like
confused.
We didn't even see anyone ask anybody out or anything. It just kind of just jumped in there. I'm like, oh,
we haven't seen it for a few. Oh no, I mean, besides the actual drama about who we're gonna ask, I don't think we've seen it for a while, which I'm not mad at it. I just wish we had like a title card or something telling us it was going to be a date, because I thought Aaron just was walking from the villa and Griffin, is his name, like was just caught up with her. I didn't realize it was a date.
Well, the thing is, at least in season 2, it seemed like people were more willing to give a lot of others in dates and like I guess spread the attention, which is why the singles were more fun to watch, because we got to learn about a lot more of these singles. Where this season, it seems like there were different options, maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then they just stopped and just picked the same people every time. So there's like, why are we still showing? Oh, I don't want to see Kendall ask Alexis on a 1,000th date. Like, I don't want to see Chelsea ask Blake on another date. We know what they're doing,
and just be gross. Like it's just gross. Like I'm not into it. Like none of these dates where I was like, wow, it's like actually cute. They were all, I was just like, I feel gross. And like, what are y'all doing?
Well, the Aaron date was just sad, honestly.
Yeah.
But didn't you feel, and maybe I'm being really callous and mean, but to me it just felt like, that tired old trope of every romantic comedy. Oh, I'm not open because of my past trauma. So that's why I'm going to push people away. Like it's really time for all of us to like understand, the trauma we have, and like so that we don't put that on other people. And I know that she's, I think, understanding that. So I want to give her that grace, but it's like, I just feel so like over this, like I'm not happy and I push people away before they, I hurt you before you hurt me. And it's just like, come on, like how old are we?
Genuinely, I think Aaron and Corey are both ready to just see each other again.
Yeah.
And production's just like, we need something, like give
exactly.
us
well, this is the thing. I feel like people, when they first saw Aaron, they thought that she was going to really explore options and try dating people, because she felt like Corey was the boring one. And like, but then it's also like, Aaron, if you've made it clear that you've dated the same type of guy multiple times and it hasn't worked out, and now you're dating Corey, maybe you need to realize that maybe Corey is the right guy for you because you're not having the drama that you used to be having. And I think that's the realization she had, because at the very beginning, then she was like, oh, I'm regretting this already. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this reflection stuff. Like, unfortunately, it's happening. But then I guess we have people like Griffin who also basically apologize. He's like, I'm sorry that I'm like, making you push these boundaries, but like, asking these questions is gonna help you like, open up and be more vulnerable. But she's like, these emotions are weird and that sort of thing. So like, I mean, I guess it's good for her own self growth, but I think it is kind of like a little bit, difficult to like watch, I think, like kind of like what you're saying, Sasha, because it's like, okay, they are all just saying like, in my past relationships, I experienced the same exact thing. And then this is like, I'm pushing people away or I'm not being vulnerable. And I mean, I guess these are just genuine insecurities that a lot of people have, like when it comes to dating or relationships and experiences. But yeah, I think because we can constantly hear about it, that's, and I think because they're not romantically exploring things, it's like, we're just going to hear about their insecurities.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah, that's a real one.
So the only other, I mean, there were other dates obviously, but there was only like a few other significant ones. I mean, like Corey and Amanda. I mean, there was like
they're boring.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas and Sophia. I mean, their thing. I've been saying this on a girl side specifically, but I really like Sophia, and I think she's like the best single girl there. I do like that she's respecting boundaries, but at the same time, she's also there for herself, which is okay because Thomas is like he's into her too. So like it is different from like an Alexis Kendall because like there's obviously not good intentions there where Thomas is opening up to the idea, but at the same time still trying to stay loyal to a degree. It's complicated, but I like Sophia. I mean, she obviously wants to be with him. It's just a matter of time of if or when Thomas is going to do something. Will we see him as a bad guy or good guy? I don't really know when he does it. It really just depends on the intention when it's there. Like if there's actual genuine feelings, then okay. I mean, I'm gonna be like whatever because we already saw the relationship failing. But if it's if it's on some I need to get back at Chelsea, then I'm gonna be like, all right, what are you doing here? So we'll see with that. Chelsea, Dr. Blake, I mean, I don't really care to talk about this too much, but basically they see a future together and they want to run away, and it's not about when, but if. Chelsea is very weird. Sorry. And then lastly, the other one was I mean, Kristen, we already knew Kristen was going to talk about, her trauma and her brother. So okay. But
Julian, it was nice hearing about her date, right? How do you like Juan? Is that
Juan?
How you? Yeah. That was a nice moment. Like a nice as in it was sad, but like it was just an interesting piece of like for us to really hear from the singles. And I think that was an interesting moment where you could see that maybe they all probably are having genuine, like deep conversations. But I just appreciated them adding that piece. And like, hopefully he also now feels some sort of, relief after this.
Yeah, I think it was definitely very interesting to hear, like, she felt like it was something very difficult for her to open up about, her losing her brother to addiction, and like her fear of potentially going through a similar cycle like him behind closed doors. But then he had also expressed that his own friend had an addiction, and he had found out about it as a random occurrence. So I guess it was just an interesting, I think, situation where you start to realize that there are people like you who have a lot of similar experiences, and commonalities. And even though, people are, from all over and have various backgrounds, there are things you can find that are similar. And I think that's kind of where we sort of see that situation. I guess like even though we discussed how we're like, well, we don't necessarily see anything serious coming out of Jesse and Erica, I guess the one thing I did want to know generally was, he does like her.
Yeah.
He does express that he does want to have a family in the future, and he doesn't want Erica to go back into that trap, and he wants to get to know her more. And he's like, I can come visit you. You can show me your hometown. I could fly you out, and to mine and show you around my place, And Erica mentions that Jesse's the kind of guy that she should be with.
Yeah.
Genuine, patient, well-rounded. And
you see other
fall for him.
Yeah, and you see other just narcissistic behavior, and toxic, like where not narcissistic, abusive behavior, where he actually said her family took up too much of her time, and she should distance herself from him. So that was he's textbook,
Kendall, yes,
abuser. Yeah, Kendall. Sorry, and he's gross. And I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but like, it's so gross how obvious it is.
Well, I used to be a social work major. I can tell you he's a psycho. But there you go. I mean, real quick, how did you guys feel about we spoke about this already, but Kendall and Alexis and them talking about the family and moving and everything. We didn't really talk about the thoughts about that, but how did you guys feel about that?
He's just a liar.
I just feel bad in a sense for Alexis, actually. Like, in a weird way, like, I don't know, like, she's not necessarily my favorite person.
Yeah.
But when she keeps saying in her confessionals, like, or like, even to him, like, I see us being together and, like, working out well. Like, I could see us getting to the point where we could have a family. Like, even though she joked about the 10 kids, she's expressed even, like, it makes her nervous to see how conflicted he is about, because it seems like at this point we're seeing in this episode, like, Kendall's kind of like, well, I could go back to Erica and, but I don't know how the situation will be, but, I'll probably try. So I do feel bad for her if she actually is, because she's like, I can see myself falling for Kendall, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were already feelings that were already there, but she's trying to protect herself. But like, I feel like she's living in this sort of fantasy, because I think, they are kind of like on a vacation. They're on the show. And I guess he's giving her attention. And so for her, like, this is probably what is ideal, like a fairy tale. But in reality, it's like, I think she's ignoring the reasons why the girlfriend, like Erica, has had issues with Kendall. And I think those are the things that should stand out to her, because he could treat Alexis in the same way if they were to leave together.
Well, that's exactly the issue. Like, a lot of people, I don't want to say women, but a lot of people think that they're different, and that they, it's because of Erica he's acting this way, not because this is inherently who he is. And that's, again, why this whole situation is so sad, because 100% this is going to happen to you. It might even be delayed because he's going to get smarter, and maybe do it more slyly. But it's definitely going to happen to her again, because that's who he is. And yeah, it's really sad. And I hope that he does leave her also, so that she's free and she doesn't like waste 2 years of her life like Erica did.
All right. So that, those basically the dates. I mean, we skipped over like Julian's and all of them, but there wasn't really anything there. But yeah, we move on, and we're actually going to see Erica talking about, she knows her relationship's crumbling. She needs to move on and focus on herself. We're going to see Chelsea basically saying that she's into Blake. This is one of the many times where she keeps bringing up about how she sees a future in Blake, which, it's interesting. I mean, she says she wasn't thinking of Tom and all that, but it's like, usually there's a mutual agreement where we see both sides of the story, where you see Tom and you see Sophia. Yeah, Sophia, they both were like, yeah, I like each other. I have a crush on this person. You see Erica and sort of Kendall like, oh, we have something there. This is completely one-sided. Chelsea keeps saying that she likes Dr. Blake. He hasn't really expressed that in the confessionals, I don't think at all this season that he has like feelings for her or anything. But
I think he said it to her, but yeah, I don't think he's been
yeah,
in it.
like in a private setting where you can really get your emotions out, like so I don't know if this is like, I don't know. It's very bizarre. Chelsea's a very bizarre person in my opinion. Anyway, I'm sorry to keep dragging her, but
It's so funny.
Aaron sees Chelsea, says that you just need to open up. Like, she's basically saying what we're saying.
Yeah.
If you are going to into someone else, go through with it. Like, don't wait for someone to make the first move so you can be the victim. Just do it. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is.
This teeter-tottering stuff is like what's annoying, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and both of them, I think that's why I'm irked by Thomas too. It's like you both want to cheat, or whatever, step out of your situation, then just do it. Like, why are you like playing this, game of chicken? Like, who's gonna, blink first? Almost.
Maybe he doesn't want the backlash. I don't know. Maybe she does. I don't really
He's
know.
the one that wanted to go on the show. Like, I think there's a lot of backlash there already.
They both don't want to be there. He likes Sophie, and then she likes Blake. Just move on. I mean, they don't even really like them. They just like they're attracted to other people. They want to mingle.
It's really serious between.
It's just like just keep moving.
It's all lust.
Yeah. But there's that. We finally get to the parties where everyone's partying and getting drunk, and that's obviously very progressive for finding love nowadays, I guess. And what Kendall and everyone's just making out, getting drunk and all that. Like, the only thing on the guy's side that was really semi-important was Nicole speaking about how she was sort of gaining feelings for Kendall. I don't know if Alexis feels some type of way about this or not, but I mean, it feels like definitely like foreshadowing for like future stuff. Cause like, I mean, at least in previous seasons, or the ones I saw, when there was like a threesome, I mean, it was a hookup and then they just moved on, where here it seems like Nicole is feeling Kendall and Kendall is feeling her. And, I really feel like this is like foreshadowing for like something ugly is about to happen soon. I don't know what, but it's going to get very ugly very quickly.
Also, it makes me very uncomfortable. I know this was talked about before, like on previous, but I don't know that Alexis wanted that threesome. And it made me very uncomfortable watching that or hearing Alexis at least say it. And it again seems like Nicole is kind of like, oh, this is Nicole, I think, said she's bisexual. But I don't know that Alexis did, about herself at least. So it is an interesting moment where, like, I hope Alexis is also respecting her own boundaries and not really feeling like she has to do this to keep Kendall, because that can again lead to very stressful situations for her later on. But that's what Kendall does. He definitely, I don't know how, because he's not even that cute. Like, just puts himself in these like power positions with these women.
Yeah, but I mean, I think one thing to note is she really, I think, Nicole at least really wants to make sure she's not overstepping like boundaries within Alexis and Kendall's relationship, and it seems like she cares about them very much and doesn't want to, I guess, come in the middle of it or make it more, complex or confusing. But it's clear that she has that sort of relationship with them. And she's like, you ever need a toy, I guess, like, let me know.
That was, oh my God.
So, that sort of thing. But I feel like she at least seems to care because she realizes that things are getting a bit more serious between Alexis and Kendall.
Reminder, is this the same girl that had a thing for Corey or no?
Oh,
was crying about the date and everything. I don't remember if this is the same girl or not.
I don't think so.
Okay,
because all I remember is Amanda, and and Maya was another one that was kind of like irritated by the guys, but I don't think
there was another. You may be right. Maybe I'm gonna.
If Nicole was the one, then it's like, have some respect for yourself. Like, come on. Like, don't embarrass yourself on TV. Like don't.
Oh God.
Like, I know you guys are desperate for something. Like, come on, girl. Like, go.
Oof.
But you know that's going on there, and then you go to the girls' party. Nothing really important going on, but actually, before I even move on here, there was Sophia kept trying to kiss Tom, and Tom was just like, I mean, I feel like Tom really wants to, but he's just not yet. I don't know. I personally don't have an issue with what's going on here because obviously he's not stopping her, and I mean they both feel each other. I know
she was drunk, but that's the only thing where I wanted to slightly disagree with the point of Sophia respecting boundaries, because I know she was well aware of what she was doing.
Yeah.
And she was really trying to provoke him. So because of that, I get like she's kind of in this weird position where she's like, I really like this guy and he's not doing anything about it. Mm-hmm. But that's also, I think, where it comes back to the idea that the couples came here to maybe explore relationships, but also grow as individuals. And I feel like this is where, I mean, I wouldn't say that she's been necessarily calling him out for it, but I think this is where she's trying to be like, hey, I deserve more. But it's also like, you know, like kind of like an indirect way of getting more entitlement to certain sort of affection, but not outright doing it like we've seen the last few episodes where people have literally been calling people out.
Hey, look, it's called Temptation Island. She's trying to tempt my man Tom. You know, it's like, no, I'm playing. But now, yeah, exactly. I agree with Malik. He said that he wants her to make the first move. They're like I said.
So to answer the question, Nicole was the one who was upset about Tori.
OT. Here, look at this.
Yes. Like she just wants anything. What I was gonna say is I really do think Tom and Chelsea are just ready to do, like, they're just ready to go balls to the wall. They just need an excuse, and I think tonight is the excuse for Chelsea, even though there wasn't really anything going on. But she's like, let me say that for the end of it. But but yeah, and Erica. The only other thing was Erica was like, she's really feeling Jesse. It seems, for the time being. So, that's going on there. Kendall is saying that, maybe I'm catching feelings for Nicole. Basically, he's thinking with the wrong head, but, yeah. So, I mean, nothing really progressive, relationship wise going on this episode. Just a lot of messiness. A lot of the people are so messy when they start partying. There's nothing progressive that actually goes on. Everyone just gets drunk and does like the dumbest stuff. But there you go. That was probably the most PG party that they've had yet this season, because usually it gets crazy. But there you go. So we're going to see a little bit of the single guys. I said the single guys, the boyfriends before they go to their bonfire. And I think Julian was talking about the brothers' loss, like Sasha and Janine were talking about earlier. And this kind of further confirms that, like, him and Kristen were really brought together by this trauma, and he made the promise and all that. So that's why they're still together. We spoke about that earlier, so I'm just going to move on. And we're going to get to the bonfire, and obviously the episode ends off with the girls' bonfire, because those are always the most interesting ones. Let's see. So Erica basically didn't see the sex scene. Didn't see another sex scene. They just. I
don't know why that was so funny, but she her just laughing at her own misery. Like, I could not.
Yeah.
Oof. But she did say, I wish that I could warn Alexis what she's getting herself into. Like, you haven't known this guy for a month yet, and you don't have a solid foundation in your relationship. Why are you talking about having kids? And at the end of the day,
they knew what they're getting themselves into. I mean,
but that's what Erica's saying. I'm just saying what she's saying.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
I think she's making good points. Like,
yeah.
Alexis doesn't know this guy, and she's talking about having all these kids with him, and she really doesn't know him. And that's where I think that was coming into my points earlier about like how Alexis is falling into this false sense of reality, and like she's going to be disappointed in the end because Kendall's still acting the same way with her that he's acted with Erica, and will probably act with every woman in his life.
All right. So we're going to get to Kristen, and she sees Julian talking about changing for Kristen, but nothing's good enough and it hurts. And basically, she's talking about how, it's a two-way street, and, she has her faults as well. So, she doesn't want him to keep feeling like it's just his fault. It feels like Kristen has these like moments of like reality when she's actually at the bonfires, but then she gets back and she's like, oh, he's still gonna cheat. Oh, like I don't know. So I mean, I don't know.
Maybe she needs Mark at the villa to bring.
Yeah, like I don't know if if these are genuine comments or not, but like, oh, okay, it's hard to read her. It's really hard to read her. Like she's very sometimey. Erin, she sees Corey, and I mean, Corey's not doing anything. But she sees the girls are into him, and she gets annoyed. I mean,
yeah,
but she understands that she just needs to, not blow up. She get better control on her emotions. And she actually exposes that there was a situation where a person close to her also died in her past, and a past boyfriend used the situation to manipulate her, and kind of like took it out on her and everything, and she thinks that this is why she's toxic and why she carries this into her other relationships. But how do you feel about that, Sasha?
Yeah, I mean, this was this was where it doesn't need to be on TV moments, where it just felt like they're just so hurt and they're so bad at relationships that, and like, it's so unfortunate, that someone took advantage, period. And no one deserves that. And it's like, get therapy. Like, why are you on Temptation Island? And like, Mark Wahlberg is over here being this like discount therapist. He's so bad. Like, if you're like therapy 101 literally is that like you don't tell them what's wrong with them, you lead them to like actually answer for themselves. And this freaking guy is like, is that what's happening to you? Is that what it is? Is it hurt? He said like people that are hurt other people, but what he meant is like hurt people. And like it's just, he's just sitting here diagnosing people left and right, and like it's like uncomfortable because they need actual therapists, and that's not what Mark is. But they're really the couples are really leaning on Mark in that way as well. It, to me, is what it looks like.
Yeah.
I think it's always interesting because like Mark too, like sometimes he'll be like, "You never told me this before." And it's like,
yeah.
You've barely known them for a few weeks.
Real quick, it's like, all right, let's talk about that. You guys are obviously casting these people. Are you just grabbing people off of the street, or like, do you guys actually like talk to them before you bring them on here? Like,
well, producers probably talk to them. I doubt Mark Wahlberg.
Is Mark not a part of that process?
No way.
I wonder if he's an exec producer or something.
Like, is he like the Jeff Probst where he's a part
Julie
of casting,
Chen,
or is he
even
Julie
worse.
Chen?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
No, I mean maybe
unless he's like, I mean, he could be like a Chris Harrison, where Chris Harrison is like an exec producer, right, and he is a host and facilitates discussion. So like that's a possibility. But maybe he is like a Julie Chen who's more disconnected from the production side. So it would be interesting to know the answer to that. But.
And maybe the only piece I am confused about is maybe they're talking for much longer, and that's why Mark Wahlberg feels like they're closer than what we're seeing. But again, to me, it's like, then take like a psychology course and like understand how to like do relationship building, because he's just kind of telling them, especially with Julian at the start, he's kind of just like, what does he say? Yeah, where he's just like with Julian after this, sorry, so I don't mean to skip, but where he's like, is it this? is that what you're feeling? Is it? Oh, got it. It's that. And then Julian just says, thank you so much. And I was like, this is not a conversation. This is you just agreeing with everything Mark is saying. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It's awkward.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what else to say other than it's just awkward.
Yeah.
Lastly, we see Chelsea. Chelsea's she sees Tom's date, and
wait, before we transition, I just want to read this quote I found on the internet, which I thought was funny. It was from Mark Wahlberg. So he's like, I'm not a therapist, but I'm a husband, a father, a son, and all of these things. The only thing that I could bring to this is that I failed more than they've tried. So maybe I can help.
It sounds like this is like his, like, that he put that on his resume when he was applying for the hosting job. Like,
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God. Yeah,
Shout
like,
out
where
Mark
do they
Wahlberg.
find Uncle Mark? You know, like, that's what the hell I need to know, because it's
From
just
his
so
game show
random.
stuff, I guess, and I guess they had another, Temptation Island. He was part of that too, so
Okay.
he just has a
Yeah,
history
there was
with the show.
the OG. He was.
Right, so he just
Um,
has a history with the show, and they wanted to include him in this one. So
Yeah. So, lastly, we see Chelsea, and honestly, the Chelsea and Tom are both so immature. Oh my goodness! But Chelsea, basically sees the date, and basically she just goes from 0 to 100. Even though it wasn't that serious at all, but she goes from 0 to 100. I would think you would get this reaction maybe because. Maybe the last date, maybe when he was like, oh, give me a kiss on the cheek, whatever, but there wasn't anything that serious in this clip. And she got really angry. She was just like, she wants nothing to do with Tom anymore. She wants to, she can't accept the flirtiness. She wants to be the only one for someone. And basically saying that, oh yeah, we're both connecting with other people. Blake would never do this to me.
I'm like,
Yes.
you barely know Blake. You don't know what he would do. That is why I'm annoyed with these people,
Well,
because I'm like,
yeah, and she was just
you've known him a couple weeks. Like,
and
I
she
don't
was just
understand
calling
how
him
you can talk
fake
about it.
like 5
I
minutes
was just
ago.
about to say, even worse. I mean, he did do this to you, just with not another girl. He did it with a bunch of guys that you don't even know. So it's like very hypocritical. But she looks like a fool. I'm sorry to say that, but a fool. Oh my gosh, I feel like Taryn. Like this morning, Taryn called Tara a moron. But anyway, she's like such a fool, honestly, and it's just like.
Oh my God.
Like, who are you who are you fooling here? Like come on now. Like, just say that you want to move on. Like, there's no, like, honestly, be a less douchey version of Kendall and just like do what you got to do. And then like literally the video messages might be next episode. Just be like, look, I see you doing your thing. I'm doing my thing. Let's just go our own ways and be friends, or let's just go our own ways. Like honestly, you guys don't care for each other. Even before this, you were saying I wasn't thinking about Tom this whole date. Oh, I don't kiss my boyfriend like that. Oh yeah, I really like Blake. I see a future with him. Like, you're being very hypocritical, Chelsea. You need
the one thing that really bothers me is she's like, anytime she sees Thomas do something, which he has honestly not done that much, like she'll be like, well, he is just using what he's seeing me do as an excuse for him to do and justify what he's doing. And I'm like, what is he like? I mean, he's flirting, he's touching Sophia a bit here and there, but like, I don't know. Like, I get that she is upset about how he like interacts with women, and that's completely fair. And I, no issue with that. And if that is a deal breaker for you, then yeah, you shouldn't be with him. But I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just really annoyed with like how she's criticizing him, because honestly, like considering the way she's talked about him and made him sound, like I think he is holding a decent amount of restraint and is really trying to respect Chelsea, at least as much as he can. But, I mean, sometimes he tries to bait Sophia to do things. But, like, honestly, like, I don't think that he's as bad as a guy, right, from what I've seen, that Chelsea's making him out to be. And I'm also like, Chelsea, like, I know you want to act upon your feelings and do whatever you want to do with Blake, but
just do it. Like, you guys are on Temptation Island, just do it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's over. Just do it. Do what you gotta do. Because, like, you don't need to play this front to try to villainize someone else for something you're doing the same exact thing to. Just move on.
Yeah.
But we're also going to go to the guys' bonfire ceremony. And Kendall's saying that how he wants to salvage his relationships, and like no one's like, you're full of it.
Oh my god, this is the only, like I said, the good line from Corey was when he was like, so which one are you leading on then? And he was like, it's complex. Shut up, ugly.
I hate his voice too. He has no emotion. He's like, it's complex. I'm like,
no,
anyway.
It's just psychopathic behavior.
Yeah, he's a psycho.
Kendall says like, oh, Erica's still, coming into who she is.
Shut
and like,
up.
I highly doubt that her and Jesse would, go see each other and she'll forgive me and all this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, Kendall, I am so tired of you.
Crazy is that he might not.
Right. Yeah, he could very well be fully correct, which is very unfortunate.
Oh,
but
it makes me so mad.
Is that this guy is just so annoying because I just can't. I don't know. Like, oh, sorry. Kendall just frustrates me, honestly. And I don't know. He just makes himself sound like he's perfect when we know he's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, Geneva, how did you feel about Julian and his clips and everything?
Well, I think that's where it was very interesting how like Julian and Kristen's stories aligned in this episode. That they just basically that, they had that similar topic of discussion with the people that they're interacting with. And, I think for Julian, it's difficult for him to watch. And it's a subject that's hard for him to talk about. It's not even a subject that they really talk about that much, which I think is quite interesting and was I guess quite a revelation too within their own relationship. But that's why I think what was very interesting is like, yeah, it sounds like they talked about it in the moment when it happened. And, Julian did, like when he was told, he didn't even want Kristen to know how he was feeling because he felt like, he had a close relationship with the brother as well. So yeah, I think it was very sad, but I think that's also like, we're seeing these, sides to a lot of, the emotional depth between a lot of the individuals on the cast. And I think we're getting a better understanding for these relationships because I think, Kristen is like a person who hasn't really opened up a lot. So like hearing them talk about this and the root of what has kept them together is very interesting. And his obligation and feeling for, supporting her, which is why I hope that like, if they do stay together, that it's really from a foundation of love and not supporting each other through trauma.
Exactly.
All right. So, let's move on to the next person. Sasha, how did you feel? I just read your first point. How did you feel about Kendall in his clips?
Oh my god. I'm just like, so forget about this guy, dude. Like literally, I just wish I could like, someone could drop kick him. But I feel that, my specialty is dealing with guys like this where they really try to come for me. And I really feel like I could, read him like head to toe and be like, who hurt you in your childhood that you're acting this way? Like, that's what the F I need to know. Because you're over here acting like you're so put together. Your hair is not put together. Your face not put together. Your teeth aren't put together. Look at your clothes. Like, no. Like, he's so lucky that woman was nice enough to do his hair. Like, and he, like, then it looked nice. But either way, it's not even about the hair. It's just his whole everything is so useless. And maybe it's because he's so ugly on the inside. Like, it's not even that he's bad looking, but it's just his personality is so bad. And just the way he talks about it. Like, I believe Erica will forgive me. Like, just he treats her like the shoes on his feet. And and whatever ends up happening, I don't care. But like, how is this person, like, how is no one in his life checking him? Like, that's what I need to know. Because it's so gross. Like it's just
Because
gross.
Kendall is the supreme gentleman. He's the embodiment of perfection. No, not literally, but like like
Sorry, just hearing the supreme.
I don't know.
What is
like,
that?
I don't know. He's just like I don't know. He just doesn't care. Like I don't know.
Why that's so funny?
Wait,
crazy.
who would you say is an actual supreme gentleman?
Supreme Mark Wahlberg. I don't. I don't know.
The supreme gentleman. No, Mark is the supreme gentleman Wahlberg. Okay.
Oh brother.
Guys, I can't. Okay, I can't breathe.
Oh boy. So let me. I'm so sorry.
No,
So
okay.
lastly,
So what do you think about Tom?
I mean that's what I was gonna ask you guys. Tom is basically just like Chelsea, where I mean, all right, the clip was a little bit. I mean, there was actual physical stuff going on there, where they were like, oh, like they were hugging, and he was like, "Oh, how you feel? You feel that? Yeah, it feels good." I was like, ugh.
So what were they? What? Like that
I don't
was.
know. It felt like I was watching like a 90s like adult film or something. It was very creepy.
So they were like grinding. Okay, because I was.
They were
Something
just
like that.
they were really drunk in the pool.
Yeah,
too, right?
Chelsea looked very drunk.
Which is crazy because they didn't show this on screen. Like that was our.
Yeah.
I was like, when did this happen? I'm like, oh, yo, that is so shady from the editors because she just went off, and then you see that, and you're like, oh, that is not a good look. But yeah, after she goes off that, Blake would never do this to me. You did it first. Like, come on, check. But I hate Chelsea. But no, Thomas,
me versus Kendall, you versus Chelsea.
I hate both of them, but I hate Chelsea.
Oh,
There's
God.
something. I hate Kendall, but he's consistent.
Yeah, and he's like in your face, like he's not lying.
Yeah, like he's an asshole, but like he's at least he admits it. Like
yes, valid.
Chelsea is a complete hypocrite. Like I think there's something worse from someone who does bad things and doesn't even know that they're doing it. And
for me, I just don't like Kendall or Chelsea.
Yeah,
Well,
I hate
yeah,
both of them are very annoying. I find both of them annoying, and I mean Thomas is pissed. I think it was a little over the top because, like I said, the last two times, I think they're both ready to do their thing. They're just waiting for an excuse. And I think this was the excuse for Tom. And you know what? This explains why Chelsea was so over the top during hers, because like we said, the clip wasn't even that bad, but I mean, she knew what was going to be shown. So she was like, "Oh, I need to really like kick this up a notch." So like, my clip's going to be shown first. The girls are going to be seen first. So I need to show why I'm mad. She was probably hoping that thing was going to go on another cliffhanger. No, they actually showed both of y'all this time. So I get
Exposed TMZ your ass.
You know what? That's exactly why they didn't show the them asking for the date. So they were like, "Oh yeah, we need to fit both of these in this time."
Oh my God.
I don't know. How do y'all feel about Tom and Chelsea here in this situation?
Just do it, man. Like, come on. Just end it.
He's like, we're gonna lose each other. It's so sad. It hurts. It's weird seeing her in someone else's arms.
Like,
but it would be
like, all right, I'm going back to Sophie.
To talk about her like this when I'm clearly having feelings for somebody right now. But I just didn't think she'd fall for somebody. So, but I just feel angry and betrayed, and I just didn't think that I'd have to worry about Chelsea. But I was so wrong to put so much trust in my partner.
Shut up.
Heart hurts.
Yikes.
Get away.
That's how I feel. So that's basically, I don't know. Thomas is just it was dramatic. It was dramatic. It was like given the final monologue in the last act before he plans to, I don't know, end this relationship, sever their ties or something. I don't know. But I think what's very interesting, at least within the end of the episode, is that they are told by Mark that they're going to get the chance to send a 30-second video to their girlfriends. And you don't have to send one. Honestly, I would love if all 4 of them send one, some sort of one. I don't know. I would just like to hear what they have to say or what they would want their significant others to know. But I think it would be really interesting to see what videos we will see from both sides and who will send videos or who won't. And will the videos ultimately affect certain people's behavior and what they choose to do?
Yeah, Kendall's not going to send a video, 100%.
You know what?
Unless he's like, wait for me.
Look, the videos or whatever. I really don't care about these couples. So honestly, yeah. Listen, here's my theory. Blake signed up for Survivor or Big Brother, but got put on here. He is playing 4D chess. Because listen, not only
how does he end up?
This is crazy. This is crazy.
It's a whole different network.
Like, yo, he's crazy because look, it just hit me, right? He put information in these singles' minds, and he formed the Pretty Boys Alliance, and he like got all his troops together to go against these girls. They fought the girls, so they were unlikable, and then he spread tea and made them look like problematic snitches, got them eliminated, and then now he has Chelsea still on the hit. Like he's a savage. Like,
I believe you're giving this man too much credit.
I'm just kidding. I'm not being serious. But like he's low key. I want to see Dr. Blake on Dr. Blake and Kendall on Big Brother would be something to watch.
Kendall would just be a fessy, like in a showman to be like, bro, what's going on? Who flipped?
Oh no, but
foolish.
Horrible cast this year. But you know, I'm semi enjoying the season still. It's messy. Oh, these are so unlikable people. I hate a lot of these people. But I've been saying that a lot. But you know, yay, that's the episode 6 of Temptation Island. You know, overall score of this episode, guys. I don't know. I'm a little bit lower. This is my least favorite so far, but the season's still like a 6 right now, 5 right now. But this episode is boring. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I think I think 5 for me for the episode, and then season is still at like a 6 just because of how messy Kendall is and how just annoying and stupid they are, but like in a good way. I mean that like I like it. I like to watch it.
6 for the season, 5 for the episode.
Okay. All right, so that is Temptation Island, episode 6. We will be back next Wednesday, probably sometime in the afternoon, possibly with Abby here as well, to talk about episode 7, where we should be seeing the video messages. Hopefully, we are in for some insight, because this will be the first time since like the second episode that the couples have spoken to each other. So it will be very fun to see. So we're going to just start closing out here. So Sasha, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on Twitter at funsize_04. And yeah, you can just, I'm here tweeting about all these crazy reality shows. So who knows where I'll be next.
All right. And how about you, Geneva? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Peace Love Jen on Twitter and Instagram. And on Twitter, I tweet about reality TV. I've been tweeting a lot about The Circle recently. The UK season 3.
Yes, so good.
Club Circle. Watch The Circle. Would recommend. Also, US is coming in April, so we're just getting blessed with so much The Circle. And yeah, you know, I'm here on Silent Podcasts, and I'm on, you know, RHEP every so often. So you'll just see me back and forth between both places. So, you know, and of course, be sure to like, comment, and share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube, and follow us on Twitch, and just support us, because we love bringing you content. So
yeah.
And lastly, you can find me on Twitter at 8BallBangers like usual. You know, Silent Podcast, we've been so busy this week, but you know, we're going to keep it moving. Just to end the week, so tomorrow we're going to be talking about Total Drama. I know, oh my gosh, they've been blowing up my DMs like, where's the Total Drama podcast? It's coming tomorrow. I promise you, Lance and Sabrina were playing a live game, so we will be going live just tomorrow to talk about the episodes. Friday, Sarah, Jeanette, Ganjo, and Cheyenne, I will be joining them for the first time to talk about Big Brother Canada.
Woohoo!
So that should be fun to see either Kyle, most likely Kyle, or Austin get eliminated.
Spoiler.
And then lastly, you should be here with Carrie and whoever her guest is this Saturday to talk about the circle and so on and so forth. So yeah. Oh, and if you are new to Twitch, follow me on Twitch. Same thing as my Twitch username. I'm going to be doing Minecraft stuff with people and all that fun stuff, and Dead by Daylight with Chanel and Charles and all of them. So look for me over there as well. But yeah, that's Silent Podcast for you, and have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.